Let's go out to the Dean and Leeson hotline. Let's talk to our own of the Smoking Cuban, Noah Weber. Who is he on the Mavericks? We'll have some next. Noah, how are you doing today on this Thursday afternoon?
What's up, Blake? I'm doing great. How are you doing?
We're doing well. We had our boy Nick Angstad on at 8 o'clock and talked about all things Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. How did you take in the number one overall pick in Cooper Flagg?
Yeah, so I was out there at the arena at the watch party. Got to take that in. It was great seeing Mark Aguirre reconnect with the organization again. That was one of the most it was really touching to see that because he had been separated from the organization for so long. He was in tears. He said Dallas is home, but I was at the watch party there at the AAC covering that, and I spoke with Nico at his press conference after the first round. But, I mean, it's really lively here in Dallas. The draft party was super exciting, and the line was hundreds of people to buy a Cooper Flagg number 32 jersey there. So all around great night, and the city of Dallas is on fire to watch Flagg here soon.
I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked our boy Nick, and that's, what did you think the vibe was like, just from a fan standpoint? I mean, obviously the jubilation goes without saying, but just the overall tenor of the mood, what you saw and experienced last night versus what this was like 5 months ago.
Yeah, wow. So 5 months ago, I mean, that's about the time, a little bit less than 5 months ago, but when Luka came back there in April and the fan base was just on edge, it was clear that they were probably not going to make noise in the playoffs because Kyrie Irving was out. It was fire Nico chants every single game. And while the fire Nico chants did come out last night, it was a much more vibrant environment, and people were just fired up about Cooper Flagg. And that was probably the one, because the way that things stood there at the end of the season, I would say a certain group of Mavericks fans were checked out. They didn't really care what happened. Of course, winning could cure all, but even winning without Luka Doncic wasn't going to feel the same. And the one player that they could possibly add to somewhat not make things right, but to get fan excitement back was Cooper Flagg. You didn't have to give up any assets to get him. You're signing him to a rookie contract, and he's one of the best rookie prospects that we've seen in some time. So, I mean, the excitement is through the roof. Of course, things are always going to be a little bit awkward with 77 not on the roster. But the new Cooper Flagg era, I think that people are super fired up about it. And like I said, he was the one way to bring fans back. And I think most of those Mavericks fans that checked out when Luka Doncic was traded to the Lakers, they're back to watch Flagg.
Okay, talk to us about being at that press conference. What was the vibe from the media? We know that me and you being in there the last couple of years, there's days that it's tense and awkward. There's days that it's better. But for the most part, the last year has been pretty tense in those media rooms with a little bit of elephant in the room, if you will, talking to Nico Harrison. What was the vibe you got from the other media and Nico in that press conference where it finally feels like maybe he's on top of the world?
Yeah, Nico was extremely confident in that press conference, as you saw, I'm sure, with his one comment about fortune that Mavericks fans definitely weren't too happy with. But I'd say the overall vibe from Nico was confident. The one prospect, Cooper Flagg is literally the perfect prospect when you're taking into account what Nico Harrison wants in a player. He wants someone who's high character. He wants someone who's a two-way player. And he wants size. It seems that he likes positional size, and that's something that he has prioritized recently. Cooper Flagg brings all of those things. I think Nico Harrison, you couldn't have asked for a better prospect to bring into his team when you're thinking of his window, because he wants to win right now. But as he said, eventually it's going to be Cooper Flagg's team. So I wouldn't say it's awkward. It was definitely quiet at first, because when PR kind of came out and told us it was going to be a couple more minutes, just super quiet. But once everyone got rolling into the questions, and most of the questions remained about Cooper Flagg and the future, I'd say that the vibes were fairly normal, nowhere close to as tense as what we saw after the end, after they lost in the play-in, when the local media got their first chance to talk to him since the Luka trade. I think it was a little bit more of a different vibe, and Nico definitely seems excited. And you kind of know how he is with stuff like that. I think that Cooper Flagg, of course, even though it was a 1.8% chance, Cooper Flagg is going to be his guy, it feels like, because he's going to be the one who ultimately drafted him. But vibes all around seemed normal, not too tense, and some good questions from the media for sure.
I'm just glad it wasn't a closed-off meeting this time and they opened it up to the public.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Me and you not being in there from the closed-door media session.
Noah Weber, Smoking Cuban, joining us here, talking all things Dallas Mavericks, and so we've talked to Grant Afseth about this. We talked to Nick about this just an hour ago. For as much as it looks like the on the court product is starting to round into shape, what the hell's going on with the coaching staff?
Yeah, wow, it's honestly, I don't even know if I want to use the word shocking, but seeing Sean Sweeney leave, yes, it is an elevated role, but he was Jason Kidd's right-hand man. They've been together on multiple different teams before even Kidd joined the Mavericks, and I was not expecting him to leave at all. And there have been conflicting reports when it comes to Sweeney and how hard the Mavericks actually pushed to keep him. I've heard both sides of the Mavericks wanted him back and they didn't try hard enough, and that the Mavericks tried to bring him back, but he wanted to go for that elevated opportunity there in San Antonio. It's definitely been interesting. Sean Sweeney will one day be a head coach in this league, and if he's getting a bigger role there in San Antonio, being an associate head coach, which is the lead assistant, then I can't blame him. And I do not know what's going to happen there with God Shamgod and Jared Dudley, because both of them, of course, Shamgod's always working with the guards. He's one of the most iconic ball handlers ever. And Jared Dudley, just when you hear him talk, especially like during summer league and stuff like that, he sounds like he's going to be a head coach in this league one day too. So if I'm the Mavericks, I'm pushing very hard to keep both of them.
Noah, what have you gleaned from this offseason as far as kind of who's going to be in this rotation, who's staying on it? We know P.J. Washington had dinner alongside with Najee Marshall with Cooper Flagg, so maybe we can feel confident that he's going to be somewhere in that rotation, whether he starts or comes off the bench. But guys like Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Caleb Martin, Jaden Hardy, where are you at on kind of some of those tertiary guys that we haven't heard as much about?
So when you say Jaden Hardy, more than likely just with the way that because Dallas, they have that $5.7 million taxpayer mid-level exception, I expect them to use a guard with that spot. And I expect some of their two-ways are going to be guards as well. And with their open roster spots, even in free agency, I expect them maybe to use a veteran minimum on a guard, maybe bring back Dante Exum, something like that. So I'm thinking that Hardy's role might decrease a little bit, but when you consider that Kyrie Irving is going to miss multiple months, that could throw Hardy back into the rotation, because last season alone, he was playing like 15 minutes a game. It was actually a career high for him. But you have to consider that he only played in 57 games and all the injuries and all that stuff. So with Jaden Hardy, I'm a little bit shaky on, but all of the guys that you previously mentioned, I think Klay Thompson's role might go down a little bit, because when you listen to Nico Harrison talk about P.J. Washington, they might explore that starting lineup of Cooper Flagg at the 2 and P.J. at the 3, moving Klay Thompson to the bench. Who knows if they'll actually follow through with that, but even Jason Kidd, I believe on a radio appearance with y'all, he's using that big line there with Cooper Flagg at the 2 and Washington at the 3. So I don't expect anything really to change for P.J. Washington. I think that he's going to be a major piece in the rotation. Nico Harrison stressed that it sounds like he believes Cooper Flagg can play anywhere. And honestly, I 100% agree with him. I think that the concerns about Cooper Flagg playing shooting guard were kind of blown out of proportion, because at the end of the day, like Nico said 5 times yesterday, Cooper Flagg's a basketball player. You can throw him in almost anywhere on the floor, and he's going to make his impact felt. He's going to be efficient. That's one of the best things about his game. He doesn't take bad shots. He plays within the flow of the offense, and that's going to work out perfectly for him. And then with Kyrie Irving missing some decent time there at the beginning of the season, I think he's going to get to handle the rock a little bit more than what he would have if Irving was healthy. And that's going to be the perfect way for him to grow and get comfortable in the kids' rotation.
All right, get you out of here with this, 30 seconds or less. Who's going to be the starting point guard for your Dallas Mavericks when the season tips off?
Wow. He's not on the roster right now. I'm going to go with Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul will be the starting point guard on opening night.
Love it. Love it. Noah, great stuff from you. Tell the folks at home, if they aren't following you already, where they can find you on the socials.
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm at NoahWeber00. There's one B in Weber, WBER. And then for any of my written content, you can go to thesmokingcuban.com, and we're throwing up at least 5 articles every day, all through the offseason, 365 365 days a year. So follow along with us. It's going to be a fun journey.
Noah, great stuff from you as always, my friend. We'll do this again soon.
Thank y'all. Have a great night.